Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pep Talks Live. Even though I don't see it on the monitor here. Are we live, Ray? I don't see. There we are. How are you? I'm here with my friend. We both struggle. We both struggle with life incredibly. As a matter of fact, Steve Lally. How are you, Steve?
Thanks, Eddie. That's a great. I'm struggling. Yeah.
We both struggle, is what I said. And I wanted us this week to talk about what an asshole Roseanne Barr is, isn't she? Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Roseanne Barr just lost jobs for many people. Now, some of them I don't give a shit about. But, you know, people who, like, the behind-the-line people, the caterers, all those crafty people, like a lot of people working on that show. Some people are like, well, if they're aligning themselves with a racist fucking dingleberry, then who cares if they lose their jobs? But I feel sorry for some of the people, you know, the behind-the-line people, you know what I mean, who lost their jobs. A lot of people just, you know, losing their jobs. But I never thought she should be on television with the turn she took as a racist, Islamophobic loony bin. And of course, she got the show canceled. I don't know if you have any
Hasn't she always been a maniac, though? That's kind of a commonly known thing, that Roseanne's a maniac. I mean, if you're going to give Colonel Kurtz the keys to the fucking boat, you got to expect.
You know, that's amazing that you say that, because Hollywood doesn't care what you do as long as you make them money. However, now they have to respond to some of this shit. The Me Too movement's a big movement. I guess it's good that ABC did this, huh? Disney did it, but you know, it's so funny because on the one hand they act like they're upstanding citizens, right? Like Disney and ABC for canceling Roseanne, but you know, on the other hand,
do you know they try too hard? Something's fishy when they try so hard to make you think that they're upstanding and they care. You know, when you think somebody is making you, kind of like going to see a Star Wars movie. Like I went to see the Star Wars movie.
Which one?
The last one, the Han Solo with the Nazi kid in it.
Whoa, was this...
Einrenreich, or whatever his fucking name is, who's playing Han Solo. I went to the press screening of that movie.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow, now here I am saying, by the way, I just want to point out that I'm saying Steve is struggling. And he doesn't tell me any of this. Like, he just goes, oh, I happen to go to the press screening of the new Han Solo. It's called Han?
Solo.
It's called Solo. Which is the way I like to travel, by the way.
Which by the box office, it's probably going to be the only one. So it is Solo.
What do you mean it's the only one?
Oh, it tanked at the box office. Nobody went to see it. Yeah, it made like $20 or $30 million less than it was projected to make. So It's a big fucking turkey. And
was it? Did you think it was a turkey?
It was beautifully made mediocrity. It was like beautifully made.
Doesn't beautifully made mediocrity describe most of the stuff out there?
At best,
because a lot of it isn't beautifully made.
No, which is better because you know
Why
it's
mediocre?
shit. Like a turd with a nice coat of paint, like a really beautiful shiny.
Now you're
painted turd.
Now you're painting, I think, an image that people
understand.
Understand. You're talking to the working man now. Margaret, he's talking about turds. Could you turn up the radio louder? Al, they're not radios anymore. We're listening to the computer.
When we examined why the Pepitone Pep Talks ratings went up, we determined it was the turd talk. Anyway,
Turd talk.
but I wanted to say this about the Star Wars thing. So there's a part in it that's a social justice. There's social justice stuff in there, right?
Yeah.
But then then they do it again. So they keep with the social. And I go, you know, I get it. You care, but when you tell me you care so much, I start to think that maybe you really don't fucking care,
right?
And you want me to think you care. That was the feeling I got from the movie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally hear you on that because Karen, my wife, loves the comic book stuff, so I watch it with her. Flash, but I watch Flash and Gotham, which is kind of hilarious. A guy like me,
dude, I can't even imagine. I can't even.
But here's the deal about Flash, which is a WB show. I like some of the, like, because I'm a guy, like I like some of the special effects. I like some of the machismo elements of fighting bad guys. But it is hilariously bad with they just keep going on and on about how much they care about each other. But like you said, like this group of people that run Star Labs and they're, it's just so funny. Like, what's the matter, Iris? Like more than half the show is, what's the matter, Iris? Won't Barry, I just don't know if things are right between us. This is a superhero.
It's a soap opera.
Talk. It's a soap opera.
Right.
Just like this horrible melodrama that apparently is targeted to what? 13-year-olds? 12-year-olds? Are teenagers that? Like,
no,
they're not, aren't they're not, right? So who are they targeting this to? Maybe people like me who have just, in their late 50s who don't feel well, and you're like...
How about the guy who's married to the woman who wants to watch it? Like...
It's funny.
Remember Smallville? Remember that? That was a soap opera for little girls and boys.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a Superman soap opera. I was mortified by that. That was like a 90s rock opera version of Superman. It was horrible.
90s.
And the girl, ironically, who was on the show, just got arrested for procuring sex slaves for a cult. See, you didn't even and the Me Too movement, by the way, radio silence, nothing about it. And I don't exactly understand why. She was a star in Hollywood who was...
What's her name?
Allison Mack. See, and it's not on CNN. It's not, and I just wonder why. I don't.
Why do you think?
I don't. You got your guess as good as mine. I don't know, but that's in the Cosby.
Are you saying because it's a woman who did it?
I don't know if it's because it's a woman. It is a white woman, but do I know? I don't know. I just it's very bizarre to me.
So she was procuring sex slaves for who?
For a guru.
That's funny because I've been watching. I don't know if any of you have. I've been watching Wild Wild Country on Netflix. And I don't know if you heard of this, but this was the guru Oshi. And they came to a small town in Oregon back in the 80s, I believe. And it's Wild Wild Country on Netflix.
Yes, the Indian guy.
And they were calling it a cult. And I'm on episode 3. I think there's 6. And, the locals were these Christian, kind of evangelical type of people. At least they seemed a little, they look like down-earth people, but they also were like just pissed off that, 10,000 followers of the Maharishi all of a sudden came
invaded their town.
Yeah.
Right, which was white.
Hey, get out of the, hey, can I, all of a sudden you're online for, an egg sandwich and the line is huge. That's what I think pisses people off.
It turned. What was it? Oregon?
Yes, town. What was the name of it? Antelope,
Oregon.
It's good. It's fascinating. Just it's fascinating, man. But anyway, and so a cult,
right?
What the fuck? Now, maybe that's why God and sorry to drop names, and I know a lot of you are atheists and. Proudly so, and by the way, what the hell is an atheist church? Atheists don't have anything to offer me because basically I see them, if there was an atheist church, it would be like, people in black robes singing and gospel going, you're gonna die alone. You're gonna die. You know what an atheist healer would be like? Come up here. What's the problem? I can't hear. It's going to get worse. Next. That's like, it's an atheist healer.
You're a believer who has an atheist following. That's a kind of an amazing thing.
Well, I just, whatever you want to call it, love. There's got to be there's a higher power in the universe.
There's something else.
There's a higher power in the universe. It's I could say that with
confidence,
authority. I think.
I think you're right.
And all these people are like, I don't believe. That's the atheist choir. I don't believe. Woo, 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 woo. It's terrible. Do, do, do.
It's getting worse. The evangelical atheist.
Yeah.
The evangelical atheist.
That's funny,
That's what
right?
they are.
That's the evangelical. Yes, a lot of them are like that. They wear their atheism as a badge.
Yeah.
And I understand that part of it is a reaction to the evangelicals who are evil,
Right.
in their own fucking crazy. Those crazy evangelicals
Right,
are just
but
the
then
worst.
then the atheists are
so the
becoming
atheists
just like
react
what they
to
hate.
that, and they're like, "There is no God, you fucking idiots."
Right.
Right.
They're,
But I'm the middle ground. I'm like,
you're not sure.
love. I'm like, no, that's agnostic, isn't it?
Yeah, that's agnostic. You believe in something. You believe in love.
What do you believe in?
I think there's one God.
Whoa, ho. That'd be funny. I jump all over you after saying I'm so open. I'm like, what the fuck?
But I don't understand why he's playing hide and go seek with us.
You
that
believe
is-
there's
Yes,
actually someone
yes.
orchestrating things?
Yeah. One being. One
Nah,
single being.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What kind of form does that be? Every kind of. We're all part of it.
A little bit of a practical joke on all of us because it's a little bit of every faith has a little bit,
I think this is a great time for a commercial.
Oh, Eddie, you always pick the best times.
Because I think when you're talking about the divine, you want to talk about Burbank, and this week our commercials written by Matt Rasamoto. This week our commercials are local because we're here in Burbank, and this first one is from the Burbank Travel Board. If you have ever visited Hollywood and wondered what would happen if you drove away from the ocean, well, welcome to Burbank. Burbank is centrally located between the Rose Bowl Stadium and Sky Zone Trampoline Park. Sky Zone Trampoline Park. By the way, that's an auto parts place that while you wait for your shock absorbers to be put in, you can bounce up and down on a trampoline with a black coffee made from Satan's ass.
Also, it's
You ever have a black coffee from like an auto parts store? Hey, we got coffee. We got coffee if you wanna.
Or a car wash.
Or a
Coffee
car wash. There is nothing better than car wash coffee. Am I right?
It just sounds so terrible.
Like you're
but yeah.
waiting for your car to be washed,
Yeah.
Because you just want to drive around town looking, good.
It's been sitting there for 3 days.
You
They
wanna
haven't
drive
turned
around-
off the coffee maker.
Yeah, and
It's just been-
you want to look good, and you want your car to look good because you recently had deltoid implant, a deltoid implant, and or you had your chin. You went to Beverly Hills and had your chin cleft or jutted. I had my chin jutted. Actually, I had it. It was a back alley jutting because jutting was not legal.
It wasn't legal.
It wasn't legal back in the
70s.
Let me finish the commercial. Burbank has everything your growing family could want, according to a 1998 ad in Parade magazine, and it's just as true today. Come see the Pearl of Los Angeles, the LA Zoo, where you can experience the thrill of constantly sick animals contemplating suicide. Where you can experience the thrill of constantly sick animals contemplating suicide to the endless drumming of a mentally deranged giraffe beating its head against an iron fence. I mean, isn't it great, zoo, where they just put these animals and they can't move? If you are looking for affordable meth, Burbank is minutes away from La Tuna Canyon Park. Cheerleader and local funny girl Becky Jones says, "We have an IKEA." Burbank is more than one amazing IKEA. It is also known for its ridiculous number of costume rental shops and gun stores. Seriously, there are a half dozen of both on Magnolia, less than a quarter of a mile from where I'm reading this. So move your family to Burbank, California, under the vague pretext that you might get a job in television, while we all know you will end up working at a hookah shop. Yeah, Burbank.
It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing, and thank you, Burbank Travel Board. That is so true about the gun shops and the costume rentals. I for a show, not to brag, I have this kind of lifestyle, but for a show, I was looking for a couple a couple of things, and there's one store here that sells, and I'm being serious.
I know.
There's a store here that sells, a costume shop that sells clothing from failed pilots that didn't go. And they have all these outfits.
Only in fucking Burbank.
And they say who wore the fucking thing sometimes.
People pay for that shit. Aren't you, speaking of Burbank, aren't you at the Flap every Friday?
Who said that to me? Oh, that was bad. Flappers.
Aren't you at the Flap on Fridays?
Anyway, but yeah, so you think there's one God, and I think Burbank though is proof. Here's my thing. I think Burbank is proof that if there is one God, he is not a benevolent one. You see, here's the problem with saying there is one God, like the way you're talking about, is that then you have people coming at you. Oh, really? If there is one God, then why is there so much, pain and suffering? You know, I mean, and legitimate, horrible, fucking evil sex slavery that you just brought up.
Well, maybe that woman, that actress, because that group recruited that girl. She was going to be their Scientology's Tom Cruise. She was going to be the.
Who was the cult?
It was called Nixvim or Nimvix or something. It sounds
Nimvix.
It sounds like a Russian stereo speaker store. Okay, but it was really just a guy who was financed by the Rothschild or some giant heir of some. Yeah, that's where he was getting his resources from the.
By the way, it is amazing when you're rich. When you're really, really wealthy, what you can do in this world and who you can draw into your world. And I want to recommend another Netflix show called Gringo, The Secret Life of John McAfee, which was originally a Showtime doc, and now Netflix has it. And he was the guy who invented the McAfee virus. And, on computers. And then he went to Central America, Belize, and basically became a cocaine-fueled lunatic, just terrorizing Belize and all these people. And it's a great documentary. It's fucking fascinating. And the shit he got away with is just unreal, including murder.
So back to this sex trafficking chick. So this is my point about the sex trafficking chick, okay? So they recruited...
Sex trafficking chick. That could be a sitcom, by the way, when things get really dark, when the apocalypse hits.
The old days.
It's
when
like
things
sex trafficking chick.
Right.
Sex trafficking chick. She is a Hollywood actress by day, a sex trafficker by night. But go ahead.
So she was recruited by this guy. And in the article about it, it said he had a harem of women, but they weren't attractive. This is the fucked up. And then she started procuring him these attractive women because she was a star, and they would get in this little harem with him. But what I'm saying is, if they hadn't recruited her, they may have never gone down, and this thing could have gone on and on. So what I'm saying is, when you say there's a God, well, from my point of view, maybe God allowed her into that to destroy that cult. Maybe she was the Trojan horse and she didn't know. I don't know. But that's the way I look at it.
Well, I'm just saying there's just incomprehensible suffering going on in the world. Let's just take Syria, where children get bombed.
Congo is another wonderful place.
Palestinian people, as we mentioned in one of our podcasts. Just all of it. And, I don't know. But here's the thing about, believing in a higher power. And by the way, I had no idea the podcast was going to go in this direction, folks. But I do want to soften up a little bit this week, because last week I read a Chris Hedges article, which was, basically talking about the end of our civilization and and while that is still probably true, I think we need to soften it up and talk about personal struggle and for instance, like, what is interesting about the concept of God, it's a striving toward the good. I that's what I think it is, and the personal relationship we have with God, or a higher power, and it's I think basically children are like the biggest example of God. newborn things, whether newborn animals are so gorgeous, newborn children are innocent. Like it's that innocence, nature, which is why I'm vegan. It's like nature just is innocent.
When did you? But I'm curious about that. When did you decide? When did two-part question? When did you decide you were going to be vegan? What year? What age were you? And how long ago? And also, how different were you before you were vegan as a person? Like, does it change your personality? Has it made you more gentle of a person?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm a bit of a crazy person. It definitely. I think what is interesting, and I'm going to probably sound like a bit of a freak saying this. But I really feel like, and this may be completely wrong, I really feel like I am much more in tune with nature since I stopped eating it. And I'm not kidding about that. And I don't know if that's just my imagination. But for instance, me and Karen visited a llama farm. All these llamas, And not like the Dalai Lama, not enlightened individuals, but llamas, the animal. And I don't know why you got upset about that, Joe.
I'm not upset. I'm pleased and
See,
amused.
I'm trying to be real. I'm trying to be soft this week.
So you wouldn't make
we
corny.
talked about the end of civilization.
You couldn't make corny jokes when you were.
But anyway, yeah. And I commune with animals now. Like I have no, I don't know. But the answer to your question is that I've been vegan now about 5 years, solidly at least 4, meaning I don't slip very much at all. It's hard not to, but I don't, and I just appreciate veganism, and it happened because my wife got me into it, being an animal rights advocate. I watched a couple of factory farm videos. I read a couple of books, an incredible book by Jonathan Safir called Eating Animals. It was amazing. Just the cruelty that goes on in the mass production of these animals, the cruelty that goes on. There's no other choice when you feel that moral imperative. And I think, getting back to the concept of God, I think that's like a godlike impulse. Because God to me is like all the greatest parts of ourself, which are like we all have the capacity to be godlike, but not in the ego way. Like compassion is godlike. Humility is godlike. Humility, compassion, serving others. And it's very difficult to do in this society we're in, because this is it can be a brutal society. The dog-eat-dog aspect of it.
Pun intended. Veganism.
The dog-eat-dog aspect of capitalism, where, winners, quote-unquote, winners are celebrated.
Right. We're all eating at the top of the food chain, whether it's literal or metaphorical. We're all trying to eat at the top of the food chain.
Yeah.
And but there are some sections of even Judaism and Christianity. I don't know about other faiths, but they're like the Seventh-day Adventists. They don't eat any animal stuff. They won't eat animals. The woman who founded that was a vegan, or before vegan was a thing. And Jews, mystically, Jews eat meat, but you're not supposed to eat meat because if you eat meat, you could be eating a reincarnated relative or something, and you don't want to.
That's a little out there.
It's pretty out there, but I've heard it.
Oh my God! This is Uncle Frank.
That's right. Well, that's why you're supposed to
how do you know it's Frank? Because
that's why you're supposed to pray over it. Pray over the animal, the meat.
How do you know it's Frank? Because there's dice in it. Frank loved dice. He was always gambling. Okay, I want to play now. Now, as you know, also we have
callers. Messages.
We have callers, and you could leave a comment for the show at 424-262-0904. So if you want to comment on the show or have a question on the show, call it 424-262-0904, and I'm going to play this. I'm just going to have to play them. This first one, very lovely comment. I hope you guys can hear it.
guess this is sort of more of a comment, but my name's Michael. I've been listening to the podcast. I don't know, it's been about a year since I graduated college. I studied anthropology. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, how to accomplish it, try to cultivate some passions and skills. Not that I'm really hung up on the whole career thing, but, it's also a necessity of life, and I like hearing you talk because I like how you talk about structural processes that kind of oppress people, and I guess everyone sort of feels that in their life, and it's refreshing to hear that, and I think about that a lot, and I just want to say keep up the good work. Thanks.
Thank you, Michael. And you see, folks, take a hint from Michael. Do you see how complimentary Michael was? A lot of these comments I'm getting, they're not that complimentary. A couple of weirdos have been calling in. I don't even play them.
No,
because
we're getting more competent.
But this is good.
This is like
Michael,
that was a
you.
complete thought. That guy had a complete thought.
Yeah. Anthropology guy.
Poor guy.
Whoa, why? You don't think there's opportunities in Anthropology? Come on down. No, there's
You
digging.
can hear
There's digging sites all over the place.
Like in The Exorcist.
The Exorcist?
In the beginning of The Exorcist, there were.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the whole Hollywood thing that there's curses in these tombs, but also he liked the fact that I talk about structural processes that oppress people, and that's that's all the capitalistic shit.
Right.
That we are oppressed by how would you put it? We're oppressed
I think
by corporate
powers and principalities just fucking absorbing all the resources and leaving us to fight with each other, isn't that?
Yeah,
that's kind of it. I mean, I don't know about.
Yeah. I mean, they make everybody.
Processes.
What they've done is that they've taken living wages away from people. I mean, they take living wages away from people. They move manufacturing away. There's just such a transfer of wealth from the bottom and the middle to the top that there's nothing left for anybody. And the way the manufacturing and the jobs are set up is just to benefit a few, right? And they take jobs overseas, and they pit the globalization movement and neoliberalism are two catchphrases, right? Globalization pitting workers around the world against each other, like Chinese factory workers will make this product, so we're going to take our product over there instead of giving people a living wage over here, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And another thing is, like, teachers, education should be huge.
What an illusion that is, that anyone gives a shit about that.
Kentucky, Virginia, those teachers, which hopefully can spark a big movement across the country. They were paying for their own school supplies out of their own pockets and getting paid nothing. And CEOs have a CEOs.
Bezos just got what, $133 some billion bonus.
Mm-hmm.
And
these things will never be dealt with on the mainstream media. What they will talk about is how Trump is colluding with Russia, and it's a big reality show.
Oh, what a gangbang. Blue team, red team.
Blue team, red team.
Yeah.
Right, so thank you, Michael.
But Michael wanted some advice. You could hear the anxiety in his
yes, I
voice.
Heard that.
And he wanted some advice about how to go forward.
What do you think?
I think you should hustle. Find a way to live in the world and get something that you can give people. Hustle. Figure out how to do it with outside the system. Because if you're planning on working through the system, a lot of millennials think the system is still intact. I don't quite understand that. If you think the system is a thing, you need to get the fuck your head out of your ass, because the system is a joke. It's a fucking joke. And it's been a joke since I was in college, and I'm the one generation before you, Michael. So take it from me. Hustle the fuck out of whatever.
Now, that's a broad statement, though, when you say hustle. What do you specifically mean?
I mean,
what's a hustle?
It's not a specific. Hustle is find something you're good at, you can do without the fucking man looking over your shoulder all the time and figure out how you can.
Like what? Give an example.
Like my
That's
buddy
all.
Rick, my buddy Ricochet
Here we
goes
go.
down.
Here we go. Get ready for this, Michael. Here comes an example of hustling.
My buddy Ricochet goes down to the.
First of all, Ricochet is his name.
He's a fucking brilliant guy.
No, I know, but his name is Ricochet.
Rick.
So already.
All right, Rick. He goes down to the He goes down to the police auction, and he finds out what vehicles are there, and then he goes and bids on these vehicles, and he gets vehicles for $500, $400. Then he fixes them up, and he sells them to people who maybe it's their first car. He gets them into a functional car for $1,000. And he does that for a living. He gets 3 or 4 vehicles.
Okay,
he unloads.
so that is an example of a hustle.
That's an example. Okay, so there you go.
It's a lot of work, it seems like.
Well, I mean, what the fuck.
All right, we got another call. Again, if you want to call in and leave a message for the show, it's 424-262-0904. All right. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm not even saying my name this time. I'm just a concerned citizen. Some asshole just wished me a happy Memorial Day. You don't say that. You don't say that. You say Merry Christmas. It doesn't even matter what day it is. The only thing you can say now is Merry Christmas. That's all. This is Dara.
Dara, I followed her on Twitter.
Yeah, she's great. You don't say Happy Memorial Day. You say Merry Christmas. Now, what Dara is obviously alluding to in a funny way is this whole bullshit of war, the war on Christmas. That was picked up by the GOP. Didn't the Republicans wave that around for a while? The right wing, there's a war on Christmas. Didn't Trump, he made a big thing out of saying, Merry, come on, let's talk about Christmas.
Do you know what? We give, the blue team gives these Nazis the fuel they need. We give them the fuel they need to make it seem like they're persecuted fucking outsiders, I mean,
the blue team?
Yeah. Well, we want to edit we try to edit the word God out of the Pledge of Allegiance. That was a big thing. What the fuck is these so-called pretend liberals spending their time and resources trying to edit words out of the English language, and then the Republicans come along and go, we're persecuted, political correctness. I mean, you're feeding these fucking Nazis.
Yeah.
You're
well, you know what my guru, and I read him last week, depressed everybody, Chris Hedges says, he calls these issues that we're talking about boutique issues. And the reason he calls them boutique issues is because they're not dealing with the real issues, which are the seats of fucking power. The Wall Street scumbags, the banks, the insurance
pipelines,
companies,
the fracking, the environmental
oil companies, all the pharmaceutical, all the people who have all the fucking money, who keep it all for them fucking selves, and everybody else is like a rat in a fucking cage. Unless you happen to have a good job, which
But don't fuck with my Merry Christmas.
Yeah, but let's talk about fucking Christmas, you fucking idiots. Thank you, Dara.
Thanks,
for
Dara.
that call. I want you to read the next commercial, Steve. It's about Burbank again.
Oh.
And this is a great one about the High School Musical.
We're never going to be allowed back in Burbank after today. Fortunately, nobody's listening to this, so we might have a chance.
They're not?
No, I'm fucking around. 2,000 people. Support the performing arts. Burbank High School Musical. Eddie, you were a big supporter of this. Support the performing arts as Burbank Kaiser Permanente Charter High School proudly presents its spring musical production of the 1972 classic Behind the Green Door. This musical production of the Artie Mitchell film has been lovingly and meticulously adapted for the stage. Cheerleader and local funny girl Becky Jones plays Gloria Saunders, the wealthy socialite who is taken against her will to a sex club and loved as she has never been loved before. This musical production is full of songs that your whole family will always remember, like, that's a mighty big door, knock, knock, it's cunnilingus, who's fucking who, and I can't eat all this dick.
I can't eat all this dick.
Come see what the Burbank Herald calls a masterpiece. I don't want to offend any parent who might also be a Hollywood big shot. Burbank Caller heralds it as a 7-minute long scene where gushing semen blankets the first row of the audience.
That's like the Blue Man Group.
That's the Blue Balls Man Group. Let's just call it culturally relevant. And LA Weekly reports, so glad they stayed true to the original classic with Eddie Pepitone. If you're in the Burbank area and you've already seen the IKEA, might as well come down to high school presentation of Behind the Green Door.
They're doing great things with musicals in Burbank. Let's talk about God, though.
Yeah, back to God.
It's a personal thing, right? Like it's just like that's the big thing is that people feel like they cannot touch their higher power, their love, their compassion, because they feel too defensive. They see the world as hostile. See, that's what it's about, and they see enemies in everybody instead of brothers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Brothers and sisters. They see, and people are conditioned like that. Though it's not anybody's fault. We're conditioned, especially in this society, right? Which the Western way of life has gone all across the world now. But I mean, it's like I gotta get mine, and you're in my fucking way. Right? So how do you find God in that?
Well, let me ask you. What keeps you seeking? What keeps you feeling like there's something?
What keeps me seeking and what keeps me feeling like something is because
I know what it is for me.
When I act out in an angry way, and when I am all in materialistically and like I'm just gonna get mine, when it's all about me, and I act out in an angry way or like I got it. It's so empty. Like the feeling is, okay, I got this, but
you don't feel
hates
good.
Me. No, you don't feel good.
You don't feel good.
I don't feel
so
good.
So your soul maybe is rebelling. Your soul is trying to, it wants to keep lit. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm the same way. If I'm too in my animal, mm-hmm. I feel disconnected.
But I love animals. Now, what are you saying? That is an interesting thing. I really feel like that's being misused.
We have two souls. You have an animal soul and you have a divine.
Oh, you say that like you know.
Well,
we have two souls. Hey, everybody. I don't know how many souls you thought you have, but it's two.
On Shabbat, you have three.
On Shabbat. Oh, boy.
You get an extra soul.
What's the three? What's the
third? Is I got a Holy Spirit, Holy Indwelling. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But
so an animal soul. Go ahead. I'm sorry I interrupted you. I just said. But you're associating the animal soul with
needing to eat
negative.
And fuck and just not always negative. Just the things of the world. Mm-hmm. The things of the world. The things we can see and feel and experience. And then there's this unseen thing, which is helping other people. Helping other people, protecting animals, loving people, trying to be humble.
We're nurturing with our immediate families, but after that, we're not.
I don't know, man. I see some kindness.
I'm just talking about the state of the world, dude.
Yeah, I know.
And these psychopaths now run the world. Psychopaths run the world. That's true.
But they have been forever. Stalin, Hitler.
Psychopaths run the world. I just want you to know that.
That would be a good title for this episode. Psychopaths run the world.
Well, we'll let Matt decide.
Yeah,
he always picks up
he gets a good one,
title,
but it's catchy.
Yeah, psychopaths run the world. That's good. But that's not that kind of. I wanted to be softer today. Let's just talk about. Let's bring it down to a very personal. Like when I get up, I feel anxiety.
Right.
Yeah.
It's coming at you.
It's in my chest. Like you said, it's coming at. It does come at me through my head as well. But anxiety for me is more in my chest and belly and colon. Did you have an anxious colon?
No, not at all.
Hello, I'm Fred Johnson for Anxious Colon Soup Emporium. Like world's worst
We'll clean you out.
World's worst name for a soup place. Have you had soup that just makes your anxious colon go, I'm not so anxious anymore? At Fred, I even forgot the name of it now.
Tortilla soup, the angry tortilla soup, angry colon.
Anxious Colon Soup Emporium. The Anxious Colon Soup Emporium is located right off the 405 where it meets the 101, and your colon is tight or as loose as people.
Wow, Eddie, I don't often see you not be able to pull one through like that. What are you looking for back there?
I'm just looking for inspiration. I looked at Bill Burr. Brody and the dollop.
Bill Burr will help you. Yeah,
good.
dude.
Oh man.
Dude.
By the way, folks, if you're watching Facebook Live right now, I'm going to be at the Comedy Store tonight in the main room at 10:15, and that's always an adventure for me.
Talk about the comedy. Tell us about your weekend at the comedies. I mean, you did a whole weekend at the Comedy Store, didn't you? This past weekend?
Yeah. Well, it was Memorial Day weekend. I was in the main room twice, in the original room once. I had an incredible set in the original room. If you guys know the Comedy Store, the original room is kind of a small, intimate room. Not real small, but small, intimate room. And then the main room is this huge room. And so it's a different performance style. And I'm more suited to the original. The main is very big, but I've been getting more and more comfortable in there. But like, guys go up with very polished material, and I go up with a wing and a prayer, baby.
Right.
And it's like that, and I'm staying true to what I do, which is which is kind of just being in the moment.
Yeah, but
how would you describe what I do? I don't know.
Well, you're getting funnier faster than nobody's doing what you do, dude.
Really?
No, comedians don't fucking go. Maybe I do. I'm like an infancy version of you. I can't do what you do, but I'm attempting to do. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
But comedians go on with rehearsed
Yeah.
shit, and then they try to make it seem like it's not rehearsed. That's right.
Right, and they're
most
great
of
at
them,
that.
and
They're great
most,
at
and I'm amazed by that because I don't know how to do that. By the way, I have to be
And I have some stuff that I always go to, but a lot of the set. I mean, it's a 15-minute set.
right. So you
It's
have like
like me
little
just-
like islands that you'll land on and then pop off into your riff.
Little oases.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, that was that Marin, that What the Fuck that you did, where it was like 8 minutes of.
Yeah, I was really connected there. But it's a little intimidating in the main room in the Comedy Store because it's just big. And, and again, it's a lot of mainstream. I'm not a mainstream guy. I've always been Mr. Alternative. So it's good for me because I have to, just talk to the average person, in their average sense of humor. And I'm such an elitist.
Yeah, but you're not changing your shit for the comedies. Does your shit change?
Not really.
No.
I mean, I'm not. I'm becoming more and more authentic there.
Good.
You know what I mean? But I think the powers that be see me as someone who's, he's not mainstream. He's not going to sell. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Do
Yeah,
you agree
they
with
don't
that?
know what the fuck
Yeah.
Let's just forget about them. They don't know. They don't know.
Is it that corporate culture again?
I don't know. I think these people were
don't know.
souls born in hell. Remember you said souls born in hell?
That was the
think
title of
there
last
are
week's
people who
episode.
you automatically have to have no idea about anything to become powerful in corporate Hollywood. And anyway, Hollywood is a stock market. This is not like an artistic city. This is a stock market of intellectual property. And you're traded or you're not traded. And that's it. And people who come here and they think you're going to fucking become an artist are really in the wrong place. You're going to become part of the trade. You're going to be the casting, or you're going to be casted, or you're going to be casted off or chewed up and spit out.
That's another trait of capitalism, what we're in, our system. Not true capitalism, but that everything becomes a commodity. You're just a fucking commodity, right? You're just
When you hit, people are going to pretend like they knew. And they're going to go, Pepitone. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, did you hear a story? Did you hear the story behind this guy?
Yeah.
But you didn't develop your comedy in L.A. You were in New York for years, and I was in the ghetto in South Central Watts. I couldn't have learned to do what I do in fucking at the Improv. You fucking kidding? No way.
Why is that?
Because I would
Because those audiences want a certain type of thing.
But it's not just the audience; it's the whole fucking place.
Oh,
It's the
right.
whole fucking place. It's like I wasn't funny when I first moved here. I had to go be in the black clubs so I could be around funny people.
Right.
Because I needed to be around funny people, man.
Yeah.
Like being at the Improv, and this is not 1986 at the Improv. This is 2002, 2003. No, the whole environment, I would have been like, what do I do to like me? And they'll put me on. And, no, fuck that shit, man. No way. So that's
Again, it gets back to higher power for me. I'm just trying to thematically weave this show so people who listen know that it's got soul, because we go off on angry, tangents and talk about society sometimes in the abstract, but we're real people. I'm a hurt soul. Like I go around feeling hurt and wounded. As a matter of fact, whenever I do tarot, I always get the Hierophant, which is the wounded healer. I don't do tarot a lot, by the way.
Don't do
I'm not
that
one of
shit,
those
man.
crazy people who do tarot a lot, but I find it interesting because I'm a mystic. I'm a Russian
Okay, but when
mystic.
you're on
I'm a Russian mystic because my mom is Russian Jew.
Right.
And there's the Russian culture, there's a lot of mysticism
Yeah.
in the
Yeah. Well, that's all our Lubavitcher shit came from. All the Lubavitcher.
fuck you.
But didn't
All right.
you? Hey, wait.
What?
I
I'm
got a
kidding,
question
I'm
for you. When you're on stage and you're wielding these shit that you don't even remember you said, right?
yeah.
You don't even remember you said half the shit you
No.
say. Okay.
Right.
What do you don't think that's holy inspiration?
Yes, it is. It is. It is. I mean, I would say that if you call just being in the zone holy, but what that means is I mean, I'm talking now in terms of like, it's not ego anymore. It's your
You're elevating your
ego.
soul, man. You're
Right. Right. And people do that. Like teachers do it. The great teachers we have, the great any
Philosophers,
field,
maybe.
philosophers, architects, there's great anthropologists, the people who are digging with a purpose. I want to just read another Burbank commercial. This one is from Ann's Antique Alley, and this is great. I mean, antiques. Just like cheerleader and local funny girl, Becky Jones, I like to shop local. Those big department stores have lights that hurt my sensitive eyes, and everything smells like it fell out of an expensive vagina. Ann's Antique Alley is Burbank's premier antique store, featuring all your favorite items from back when America was great. Father's Day is right ahead, and up in Ann's Alley, you will find fun things for Dad, like black slave-themed salt and pepper shakers or vintage BB gun targets shaped like little Indian children. If it's a birthday or a Christmas, you are sure to find the perfect gift for that special someone. And if subtly racist antiques aren't what you're looking for, we have an amazing assortment of overtly sexist items for that woman you love. Our hilarious posters from the 1950s will remind the woman in your life that her place is in the home, and that interpreting man talk is why she gets slapped dizzy. Or how about some timeless magazine ads featuring the Pope agreeing with Hitler while both Ford and GM use Nazi prison camp slave labor to build American cars. So come on down to Ann's Antique Alley and remember how America was back when it was great. That's our Burbank segment, and it's just a terrific little...
I just love the idea of being up in Ann's Antique Alley.
Yes.
All up in Ann's Antique Alley.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to play another.
We had some callers this week, huh?
Yeah. Oh, we always do. Here we go. Here's another.
Hi. We were just hoping that you would expand. The last podcast you had mentioned that you might be touring to even Portland, Oregon, and we were hoping to find out if that's going to be coming to fruition and hopefully soon. Thanks. Bye.
That sounds just like Dara, the last girl.
No, that's not Dara. Thank you for asking about if I'm coming to Portland or not. And right now, tomorrow's June 1, I think. I don't have any dates booked in Portland. So the answer right now is no. But as I always say, I hope to be there soon because I'm always looking for venues, and we'll see. What I'm thinking is moving my one-man show to either Portland, San Francisco, New York, or all three. So thank you for asking, and as soon as I know, I will let you know. All right. Well, we have a few minutes left, Steve, and
we do?
Or do you want to
Did I see
promo anything, or did you see anything? We have a segment. We have a segment every week now. We started it last week, and it failed miserably. And by the way, that shows our humanity, failing. So many people don't want to fail, and they especially don't want to fail in public. But like, for instance, people who have heart attacks in bakeries, the reason why they feel so bad about that is because it's humiliating to be seen in public having a heart attack. It's humiliating because it mostly means you haven't taken care of yourself. You don't want to be flailing about in public screaming for your life.
At a buffet. At a buffet.
At a bakery.
That's
or
yeah. A buffet's pretty bad too.
Ooh, those all-you-can-eat buffets?
Yeah, buffet. You have a heart attack at a buffet.
There must be a lot of people who drop dead in like Vegas buffets, right?
That would be a great...
Reno.
They should
Reno
advertise,
buffets.
5 people have dropped dead at our buffet. Come, you'll
There was a burger like that. Do you remember the burger like that? There was
No.
a burger called the Heart Attack Burger, and people were having fucking heart attacks. Because it was like, like
what,
just
5 pounds of
red meat?
Yeah, right. If you ate it, if you ate the whole thing, you got it for free or something like that? Is that that?
Some
is that
shit.
what that is?
Some crazy.
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy. Some fucking Texas shit.
Oh,
but
overeating is a spiritual sickness. You know that?
It's a drug thing. It's an addiction thing.
It's a
overeating.
Spiritual sickness.
Yeah.
Right?
Overeating, yeah.
Folks, we're just soft people. We're soft people. And I mean me and Steve.
Nobody fails like you, Eddie. When you fail with style.
I fail
You
big.
fail with style. You take a big swing and
I want
miss.
to talk about one of my big failures before we get into our last segment of Have You Seen Anything Funny in the Street? That's the name of the segment. Have you seen anything funny in the street? But one of my big failures, I have been known to have panic attacks. Now, this is induced. It's just being scared of life. It's having all this fear accumulate in me. It's all about me. It's all about it really. I mean, not to be Freudian, but I think it goes back to not getting nurtured as a kid. And if you haven't been nurtured and loved as a little kid, you don't feel safe. And that's my MO.
That's really what it was? You weren't...
Well, I think that's what leads to panic attacks. And I had that. I didn't get nurtured and loved that much, And I know that I already hear some people going, "Oh, poor guy."
Yeah, but you have a lot of love to give. So where the fuck does that come from? That's kind of amazing.
You think I have a lot of love?
Dude, incredible.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I guess my grandma, I got it from different people in my life. My grandma, my sister.
Your dad was a tough customer.
My dad gave me love. His family gave me love. But he also tempered the love with critical. It was so critical.
Right,
and my mom was manic depressive or bipolar, so it was really hard to get any love from her. So that's my background. And I just want to open up to people because I come off here like everything. I know the answers to shit. Well, I'm just frightened,
Right.
I'm frightened.
But other frightened people get to hear us, and they feel like they're not alone.
No, absolutely. That's absolutely true. But one of my big failures was, this is what I wanted to get to, and it was kind of funny, though, terrifying. Sometimes what can trigger a panic attack for me is when I get the flu, and I have to do something. And I had an audition, a big audition, and I was sick. But I pushed myself out of the house because I was like, it was a big audition. And I managed to and I'm driving over to a studio, and I'm starting to feel the panic. And if anybody knows what, it just feels like, shortness of breath. And I'm like, so I parked the car. I'm like, all right, hopefully it'll go away. Like I'm trying to talk to myself. Oh God, I just breathe, Eddie. And when you're saying to yourself things like just breathe, you're a goner. And so I'm walking up the steps to this audition, and I'm having now the panic attack is full blown. And I actually go into the room where the actors are, and I'm losing it. And I'm pacing back and forth. I go into the bathroom, I splash water on my face, and I get called right away. And I'm in front of...
I'm sorry, dude.
I'm in front of the casting person and the writers, the showrunner, and I'm having a full-blown panic attack.
Was that the role you were auditioning for? A guy flipping out?
Well, fortunately, it was about a guy who was uncomfortable giving a public speech.
Oh my
so I was kind of able to use that incredible nervousness in the role, but I was out of my mind, and I couldn't believe I got
Did you
through
book?
it.
You booked it? Didn't
No,
you?
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't. Oh.
I didn't, but it was amazing to be in front of people in public. It's kind of why I mentioned the bakery thing. Like, people don't want to be seen in bakeries
That's
collapsing.
much worse than a panic attack at our
I know. But anyway, so that's my story. Did you see anything funny in the street this week?
Absolutely not.
Me neither. So that's the end of that segment. I want to thank everybody for listening to Pep Talks. Follow us on ATC. I want to thank Matt Rasamoto for writing our commercials. I want to thank Ray for engineering today. Steve, follow Steve at
Lolly Comedy on Twitter, or
anything to promo.
Stephen Lolly on. There's big fucking incredible shit coming up with me, but you'll just have to stay tuned to Pep Talks if you really want to hear about that.
And I'll be at the Comedy Store tonight and on the weekend this week. And I am going to be one of the headliners of a festival called the Altercation Festival in Austin on September 27th. My one-man show, In the End of Days. I'm waiting to put it in another theater. We're going to see where that goes. And I think that's it, everybody. Thank you for listening to Pep Talks.
Thanks. Bye.